back. Today we had a question from a lot of people. How do you get a custom color on kitchen cabinets? Whether you're using your existing cabinets or you're going to buy new cabinets, but you don't want that stock color that most people offer. You want a unique color, or you want a color on the top cabinets, different color on the bottom cabinets. How do I get my own custom color, but achieve that perfect factory finish at the same time? If you want to know how to do that, stay tuned.
On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Pray up. On track, now we gon' way up. Now we gon'.
All right, so I like to take this moment to welcome everyone back to the channel. I hope you had a chance to go back and look at a lot of our other videos. Hopefully you got some knowledge out of it. Like we always say, there's many different ways to get things done. If you like what we're doing on this channel, smash that like button, comment below, let us know that you're here. Or if you have any questions, we have our email down below, and you can also just write a question in the comments and we'll make sure that we'll respond to you. So, if you're new to the channel, my name is Joshua Hines, and this is Construction Junction. All right, so let's get right into it. Today, what we're doing, we're looking at the process that it takes to do custom color kitchen cabinets. And the process that we take. There's several different ways to do it. A lot of people, even contractors, if you contract them out and they say that they're gonna repaint your cabinets, some contractors don't sand and prime down the existing finish. They may just prime over top and then start paint brushing it or rolling it. And I just want you to be aware with that kind or that style of painting cabinets, if it's your existing or if you're buying new, is that anytime you have a paintbrush that touches a wood cabinet and you're painting in that manner, there's going to be some level of streaking. Now, we use some of the best paint on the market, which is a Benjamin Moore advanced paint, which is a mix between water-based and oil-based. But functionally, what it does, if you're using a paintbrush, it levels out the paint strokes as much as possible, but there's still going to be some level of paint strokes. We do use advanced paint, Benjamin Moore advanced paint, when we're going to do like an existing built-in cabinetry that you would like to change a color. We'll do a quick sand and we'll use a paintbrush on that, and it will level out. But when we're talking about kitchen cabinets, you want that perfect sprayed on finish. And that's just our opinion. That's what we prefer, because if you do things a lot and you walk into someone's house, you can pick out immediately if they brushed them or if they rolled the cabinets or if they were sprayed. Spraying takes more time, but it's similar to the factory finish. So our goal always is to make something or make the job looks like it was always that way. So we're not trying to make it obvious that we came later and we painted these cabinets. We wanted to look like it came from the factory that way. So it's our job to put a factory finish on it, including a seal coat. And even in that, there's several different ways to do it. You can either spray like a semi-gloss paint or satin paint that has the sealer inside of the paint, or you can spray everything flat and then put a sealer coat on top, like a lacquer or something of the sorts. So what we're going to do today, we're using an advanced paint, custom color. It's like a light blue. But we're going to show how each step along the way, how we get to that point. So welcome to the garage, welcome to the shop. We are going to get it going, so stay with us, and we're just going to walk straight through it. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you some of the tools that we use in the process. And the main thing in terms of prep that we have to do to the cabinets is, well, let me back up a bit. The process is the same for us if we're going to use your existing cabinets that you have at your house, or if we're going to purchase new cabinets and we're going to use those as you know, to create that custom color. So for example, if we're looking at a door and it's at your home, what we would do is we would take all the doors off and we would leave all the frames in the boxes in the house. Now this is in the case of existing cabinets, right? You have existing oak cabinets, the cabinets are in good shape, they're still operating correctly, and you just want a different color along with that. So what we'll do is that we'll bring all of the doors to the shop, all of the drawers to the shop. We'll strip them down and they will look something like this in the shop. Now keep in mind, all of the boxes, all of the frames are still in the home, and we will be doing a similar process in the home that we're doing in the shop. But these are easier here because we can control the temperature, and we can also control the atmosphere in the shop that we can't do in someone's home. But so we disassemble it as much as possible. Now, in this case, we're using brand new cabinets for this particular job. And what we've done, we've ordered them broken down. So we ordered the cabinets not built, because we know that we need to break them down to be able to paint them and to sand them down and to do all that we got to do to get it to a custom color. So that is how we order them when we're going to use brand new cabinets. And this is a shaker style cabinet, and it has a dark wood finish on it right now. And you can see this is the front and the back is the same. So for all the doors, we tend to paint the face and the inside, because when you open the door, you're going to see that color as well. Now all the interiors of the cabinetry will be a wood color, so we're not going to change that color. We're just going to change what you see, all the finish that you see from the outside. And you can see this one right now doesn't have any handle holes on it, but in the case of if it was a existing cabinetry, and say they had a button handle, we would take those off, fill those holes with our wood filler, sand them down so that then the client can select new handles, any size handles that they want, and they don't have to use the existing holes that were already there. So that's the example of what we're doing here today. And in this case, this is what a brand new set looks like when it comes in. And it comes with the doors already on the faces. You can see here. This is the door, and this is the door. So what we'll do is that we're going to take these doors off, take the hardware off, put that to the side, and we're going to sand and prep these doors and the face. The face is this part here separately, so we can get all of those surfaces painted to the same color, but not attached to each other. In addition, when you're installing new cabinets, you may have to use some fillers in certain areas. Now, it doesn't matter the color of the wood or the style of the wood, if it's maple, if it's birch, if it's oak, it doesn't matter in the fillers in this case, because we're sanding all this down and we're going to paint all of these to the same color. So once it's all said and done, this is a filler that we're going to use on the project. So just wanted to mention that. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to get started. Let me show you some of the tools that we're going to use for this. So the main tool that we're going to use to sand them down is an orbiter sander, palm sander. And we're going to use this with different grits. I'm going to start with an 80 grit sandpaper, and then I'm going to move up to higher levels. So I'll do a rough sand first to get the majority of the, the stain and the finish off of the cabinets. And then I'm going to move up to a higher grade, maybe a 150 and then a 220 to get it to a smooth finish so it can then accept the primer. So then when it's able to accept the primer, we'll let that sit. So we're going to do one primer coat. We sand it in between every spray. Primer is a spray, paint is a spray. We'll sand a light sand in between each one. We're going to end up with 2 finish coats because we are using the advanced paint that already has the satin finish inside of it. So we're not putting the lacquer on top, it's already inside of the paint. So we got 1 primer and we got 2 finish paint coats. And then we'll look at it and see if there's any issues if we got to do a third or not. But most of the time it's just a 2-coat process. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. In addition to the palm sander, we also have this triangle sander, which is an oscillating tool that has a triangle sander tip on it. If you can see that there. So it's just a typical oscillating tool. And so we'll also do the same grit sandpaper on each level. Now where this is useful, instead of having to hand sand in the corners, like for example, like in a corner here, you can get this triangle tool in there and just vibrate it so that you don't have sand marks. So this tool is very helpful. And obviously we're gonna have a drill and whenever we need to take the doors and hardware apart. So those are the tools that you're gonna need for this. You're also gonna need some sort of mask, because this is gonna get very dusty in here. You know, it's all a part of it. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Stay with us. If you like this video, smash that like button, comment below, let us know how we did. Let's go.
Ayy, look, ayy, bread it up like sandwich. Are you okay? Working on my hand trick for your hoe's sake. Stunting like I better be, recipe for my own cake. Heavenly, my pedigree, better meet for my own sake. Bread it up like sandwich. Are you okay? Working on my hand trick for your hoe's sake. Stunting like I better be, recipe for my own cake. Heavenly, my pedigree, better meet for my.
Look, drip on me puddling, vibe spiritual. My life did 180, low key a miracle. Pull up looking spacey up in the Cooper.
All right, as you can see, it doesn't take long at all to get that first sand accomplished. Let me flip it over. Now mind you, so this is sort of what it looks like now. We got all of the stain, or 99% of the stain, off of the spaces that we want to have painted. We don't sand the inside, because that's the inside of the cabinet and that won't be seen. So our surfaces that we made sure got sanded correctly was the edges on the inside and the outside. That's the inside, that's the outside, and the face. And we have it sanded down with the 80 grit. So now we need to come back with a finer grit sandpaper, because right now it feels a little rough. We use that rougher sandpaper just so we make sure the finish comes off quickly. You don't want to be sanding all day, but it does have a rougher feel to the wood right now. So now we'll come back with, I think, like a 150 right now, and then we'll just go over every surface with the 150, and then we'll come back and set up for the primer coat. So we'll go ahead and get ready to spray the surfaces with primer coat and let that dry, put the fans on it, and then work on other items as we wait for that to dry. And just so that you can see, in that time period, I was able to get 2 cabinet frames and 1 door done. And I believe it took me like 25 minutes at the most to get a door and 2 frames done. So that first sand coat goes pretty quickly. It comes back off and it gets to your solid wood door and frame. So we're gonna jump back into it. I'm gonna switch over to the 150 grit, and we're gonna move on to the next sanding application.
I can do this with my eyes closed. I can do this with my eyes closed.
All right, so that was a nice and quick and easy pass with the 150 grit sandpaper. And when you're doing it, you're gonna notice a difference, not only in the way the wood feels, but also how it looks. Like, you'll see it start to look smoother, And when you feel it to the touch, it's super smooth. And that's where you want to be when you start your first primer coat. We're at the 150 mark. So just make sure that you have some tack pads so you can wipe all of this down, wipe all of the loose sawdust off of it before you start spraying. But keep in mind, you will be sanding down in between coats, just a light sand. Generally, it's like a 220 or maybe a 320 sandpaper that you'll use in between coats. But right now, you're at sort of what the finished product is going to look like, nice and smooth. The other key thing is when you're sanding a flat surface, make sure you're holding the tool flat. You don't want to round any of these edges because it will show in the final product. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to round, like around the corner. Make sure you stay flat here. Make sure you stay flat here. So that you don't round this corner, because if you can imagine, this is where the next cabinet is going to meet up at. So any rounded edges, you'll notice it once they get put together. So just keep that in mind and keep your tool as flat as possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and move forward. I'm gonna put the sand down with the 150 grit with the next frame and then this next door, and then we'll move on to the spray paint. So let's continue on.
It'll turn you to a dog like a keto, and expose to a cat like a cheetah. They smoke my partner like reefer. Dímelo porque o no entiendo mi gente must really need Jesus. He said real blood, I never seen the crypt and I believe it. It's too easy, too easy, too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy, it's too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy, it's too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy, too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. I can do this with my eyes closed.
All right, so that ends my section right now with the 150 grit sandpaper, and we got everything down to a nice smooth finish, including the doors. See, we down to like the raw wood, feels nice and smooth. So now we're ready to remove all the extra dust and debris off of these and begin our primer coat. Now that's just on this section. Now imagine we're doing this over top of a whole kitchen. So you can see this process does take some time. And the other thing is, if you're not a person who can be around dust, this is a very dusty job, but the outcome is just fantastic. And if you want to do it yourself at home, it is possible. You just got to create the space. You can see in our shop, you know, we're real busy and have a lot of tools and things around, but we have created the space to make this happen. And as we move along, you'll get to see our finished product. But this is just in the process. So just keep in mind, it's very dusty. You know, that's why we have the mask on. And when you finish your sanding process, you gotta wait a little bit, try to clear the space out, let the dust settle, maybe put some water on the ground so that when you do start spraying, that dust doesn't kick back up onto your cabinets. So at this point, we're gonna start to begin to get set up for the spray of the primer, and then we'll move on to the next step. So hang in there with us. right, so we got those sprayed one side. Now we sprayed the inside of the door with the primer, and I have it under the fan so that can dry, so we can flip it and spray the other side, the finish side. So right now we set everything outside in the sun. We got the fans going. We're gonna let that dry for about, I think about 20 minutes. We use a spray primer. The spray kills. Let me grab that real quick. So this is just the original Kills spray primer, and we use this because it dries quickly to a solid finish. Then we can move forward with our sanding and get our first finish coat on there. So that's what I want to achieve today. I want to get all the items that I touch moving forward with one finish coat, so that can dry overnight, and then we can come back, like saying, light coat for our second coat, let that dry for about 4 or 5 hours, and then we're ready to install. So that's the process. Right now, since I have some time with that cooking in the sun, I'm going to start on some of the other doors and just keep things moving forward.
Yeah, know I'm sturdy like a Millie Rocket. Skin clear, still look young, Andy Miller knockers, money in my pocket. Don't call me a money pocket, engine get to rocket. It sound like a thunder rocket, yeah. I still love my baby even when it's toxic. Crazy like she Britney, but no, she don't shade the night. Russell Wilson way I get along, stay in the pocket. I get paid and do my dance like a touchdown. Yeah, I can't do no time to leave that gun around. In my teens we were acting up and running around. Now we're grown, still get to it if it's necessary. On the ground from January to January. Never met nobody who retired when they were young. So I guess I gotta get it to the cemetery. Getting paid just for rapping is fun. I lit up around the month of February. Told him side, no electric. It's getting hectic. 777. 777. Yeah. Told him side, no electric. Yeah, it's getting hectic. 777. Yeah. 777. Couple of money in my head just to say they did it. Can't lie, I'm so paranoid and the windows tinted. I own everything around me, you can say it's rented. Not talking phone numbers when I'm talking 7 digits. Earn it by the day, every second minute. Used to pay me none, look, now they pay attention. Everybody say they drip, but I banded it. See them copy all the looks, but I stay switching. Pick up the loot, then hit the bank. Can't never change, still wrote the change. Captain say the pay, this ain't the day. They made me wait, I'm breaking chains. Yeah. Tell me feeling bubbly up the rose. Took a minute, but I got it out the slow way. Friends turn to foes, haters tell them go away. Rappers making shiggy dance like a soul train. Told them side, no electric. It's getting hectic. 777. 777. Yeah. Told them side, no electric. Yeah, it's getting hectic. 777. Yeah. 777. Yeah. Never not, never under y'all, never ever, forever on. Check my repertoire, check my repertoire, don't check me on. Message checks involved, I've been feeling like I'm next to God. So next to God, next to God. Never not, never under y'all, never ever, I'm forever on. Check my repertoire, don't check me on. Message checks involved, I've been feeling like I'm next to God. So next to God, next to God. Never fold, never ever fold, never ever stone a rolling stone till I'm a rolling stone. Bet I'm close to gold, need a place, need a safer bank. I've been saving change, I need some space. Chatting in my face, skip around my way. Ay, what you saying, where you at now? I swear that once I leave my city, never coming back down. Way from pushing tapes to glowing up around the map now. Real hot summer, keep my cool, I never act out. Hey, yes indeed, recognize what you want may not be what you need. Won't take control of me, but I got mouths to feed. Hustle smart, nah, hard to still get it by any means. please. Never not, never under y'all, never ever, I'm forever on. Check my repertoire, check my repertoire, don't check me now. This is checks and Rob, I've been feeling like I'm next to God. Next to God, next to God. Never not, never under y'all, never ever, I'm forever on. Check my repertoire, check my repertoire, don't check me now. This is checks and Rob, I've been feeling like I'm next to God. Next to God, next to God. Had to get it by myself. Bad decisions had me living down in hell. Paranoia, so I keep it by my belt. Losing sleep, I know this lean won't be no help. Nah, it's no contest, S on my chest. Whole squad gon' flex, yeah, you know that's set. They had mentioned competition, I'm here like, what's that? Heard your last 2 tracks, you're not eating all that. Pockets swole on me, since 15, haters been tryna roll on me. Move smarter, no drama, you know, homie. Whole team round me, ready on go, homie. Yeah, you know, homie, ayy. Never not, never under y'all, never ever, I'm forever on. Check my repertoire, check my repertoire, don't check me now. This is Jackson Rob, I've been feeling like I'm next to God. Next to God, next to God. Never not, never under y'all, never ever, I'm forever on. Check my repertoire, don't check me now. This is Jackson Rob, I've been feeling like I'm next to God. Next to God, next to God.
All right, so we're on to the next step. We have our first pieces that we worked on back on the table, and we're going to lightly sand this with 220 grit sandpaper by hand. So we're just gonna go over, fill out any uneven spots, try to knock down the roughness. Now, every time you paint wood with paint or primer or even like a sealer, it's gonna raise the grain of the wood. So the paint is gonna seep in the wood, it's gonna raise the grain. So that's what we're trying to knock down. We have to knock that raised grain down back to a smooth surface so that we can then put our first coat of paint on it. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this next step. So All right, so we have the our faces, our cabinet faces prepped. We have it sanded down with the 220, a nice light sanding. And just keep in mind when you're sanding, stay with the grain of the wood. Always stay with the grain of the wood. If you go against the grain, it's going to show up. But this primer is actually made to sand down. So now I got a nice smooth finish on our faces. Now, what I also have done is that I use my dust brush. You know, we even have it labeled dust brush. So we have our dust brush, and we dusted the whole area down, so that when we're spraying, because we're spraying with a compressor, so it's forced air along with the paint, so it's gonna kick up dust that's in the area. So you want to make sure you get not only your pieces, you know, dusted down. You also want to get the stand and anything that's in the vicinity dusted down, so it doesn't kick up and then drop back on your newly painted surface. Now keep in mind, this is the first coat, and we will be putting a second coat, and in between that coat we'll do that same process. We may step up and sand with 300 grit or 320 at that point to get that nice fine finish. So we will have another sand, another dust brush, and then another prep in the area and spray again. But right now we're doing our first coat of the custom color that the client chose. So we're gonna get into that step now. All right, so that was a nice little quick spray of these two faces. Now keep in mind, we're showing you just parts, and this is over a whole kitchen. So basically it's just wash and repeat as you work your way around each part that needs to be painted in the kitchen. So just to show you really quickly, this is the paint sprayer that we use. And this is just a bottom can paint sprayer. You can find these at your local hardware store, Harbor Freight, or anything of the sorts. It just comes down to getting used to adjusting the fan width, and also how much paint and how much air comes out. You got to make those adjustments on the back, but it's pretty easy, pretty simple, and it gives you a nice automotive finish. A nice automotive finish is what we're looking for. And it's just attached to a compressor hose. Another important thing, especially when we're working in a shop that has other things in it, it's not a designated paint booth, which we will have in the future. But right now we have to use what we have. I have set up fans so that as I'm spraying, it's actually sucking the air or any dust particles out of the space at the same time. So even if I do kick up some dust that I wasn't able to clean up, it's sucking it directly out. It's also sucking the overspray out of the space as well. So that's very important to note. And you know, just to show you the paint that we're using, I mentioned it earlier. We're using the the Benjamin Moore Advanced paint, which is really good for trim work. I like to use this not only on cabinets, but bookshelves, trim, which is the doors and baseboards and crown moldings, things of the sort. It comes out with a really nice smooth finish that's not going to be sticky. Over time, like if you set a cup or something on it, it's not going to peel the paint off. And if you primer before you apply this, it's going to be rock solid for years to come. And it can go over oil base or water base, so it's a very good product. We're actually using a Sherwin-Williams color with this cabinet, but I have it mixed in the Benjamin Moore paint. That's also something that you can do. Any color, any brand can be mixed in another brand if you prefer to use that paint. You know, for the most part. So, you know, your local paint shop or hardware store can mix it, and so you're using the exact product that you want to use. So, other keys to spraying, I would say you're gonna do 2 coats. So knowing that, You don't want to spray too heavy. You want to spray light coats, and you want to spray with a consistent pattern across, regardless if you hit everything or not. Keep in mind when you sand and you paint that last coat, you're gonna be able to fill in. So you don't want to be too heavy where you create some drips. If you do create a drip, you're gonna have to drop back. You're gonna have to sand, and if it goes back down to the wood, you're gonna have to re-primer that spot, so it can cause you more time. So just knowing that you're using at least 2 coats of paint, light coats, keep your sprayer moving. Don't stop at one spot, or else it's gonna build up. So just keep that in mind. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna set these out in the sun for probably 2 or 3 hours, let it cook, and then we're gonna drop back and we're gonna sand 320 grit and spray our final, so that we can then start to put these cabinets together. I hope you're enjoying this process. If you do, smash that like button. Get down in the comments if you have any questions. And you can always contact us direct at springdalecc@gmail.com. Again, that's springdalecc@gmail.com. So we're gonna go ahead and continue on.
Tell them run it up. I wake up. Yeah. I wake up, flex, thumb down now. Check, no drip this. Wet. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up. I wake up, flex, thumb down now. Check, no drip this. Wet. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up. 9 out of 10 roll through my hands, I'm by my lonely. Turned to a savage, now my baby wants to hold me. I love my fans, don't need no friends, I got my homies. Thought I could trust you, I find out you tried to zone me. I'm number 1 up on that court, I'm Nick McGrady. The first one in, the last one out, can't call me lazy. Put in my hours, send the invoice and they pay me. I need 6 rings like MJ and Tom Brady. I wake up, flex, thumb down now. Check, no drip this. Wet. Tell them run it up. No sleep, no rest. Might crash, might wreck. But first I stretch. Tell them run it up.
All right, so we are now on site at our kitchen project that we have been showing you the process of how we spray the cabinets from start to finish, how we sand them down, and pretty much the process all the way through. So this is the kitchen, and this kitchen is still in progress. We're about to put the countertops on so we can move forward. But I wanted to give you a quick look of the cabinetry and the finish of the cabinets and how it turned out. So real quick, you can see here. So this is the cabinetry. This is the layout of the kitchen, and it's still in a raw state, but you can have a good idea of the finish on these cabinets now. Nice, smooth, and remember, these all started out that dark brown look that's inside the cabinets, and now we're to this nice custom color finish. And this is a satin finish, so this color has a satin finish on it. You can almost see a gloss down towards the end there. And so you can see the areas that we've been painting. So we paint the fronts and we paint the boxes. And then we put the cabinets together and bring them here on site. Now these aren't like IKEA cabinets, these are built cabinets, but we ordered them broken down so that we can paint them in the shop prior to installation. And you can see the handles that the client chose a gold handle, a nice unique handle to go with this light blue color. So this will give you a good look on what you can do with custom cabinets, with custom colors, custom cabinets, custom layouts. And this is what it's all about. When you have your own space, your own home, it allows you options to be creative and come up with some new ideas. And so that'll help you along the way to know what's possible. Now the question is, can you do this yourself? Yes, you can do it. But it comes down to the time commitment and also your ability to learn things and how quickly you can learn things, because this is a skilled application. I mean, everything down to even sanding. You know, you can mess your cabinets up if you're not focused on keeping it straight, keeping it level, because this is wood. So however you sand it, you can round corners, you can square off ends. So you want to keep the integrity of the cabinetry, but also change the color. So yes, you can do it. I believe that anyone can do this, but it will take you some time to learn. But even a skilled craftsman is going to take that person time as well. So do you have the time to invest to generate this kind of outcome? Or do you want to pick something that is a stock color and you can just go along with it? That's the choice that you're going to have to make. So moving forward, just know that yes, you can do it. What are you willing to invest into that idea? So keep that in mind, and you can always use these videos as a guideline on how to get it done. You know, like I say, rinse and repeat, and just move forward that way. Again, if you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe on YouTube, check out our other social medias. We're on Facebook, Springdale Construction, and also on IG. So just help us out there. Hit us with the follows, the likes, all of those things. And we will be there to answer any of your questions that you may have to help you along in your process. So this is a quick look. I thank you for joining us on this video. If it's helpful, smash that like button. And I will see you on the next one. God bless.